Hello everyone and welcome back to the UConn Huskies Dynasty. You may have noticed that the last couple episodes have been single game episodes, and I think we're going to switch back to that going forward. I know a lot of you guys like the multiple games per episode, but it is just a lot easier for me to get these videos out a bit more quickly when it is a single game per episode. But don't worry, if a game is ever like a huge blowout or just super boring, I will be sure to put 2 games in the episode. But pretty much from this point onward, we're just going to be playing it by ear. If I feel like there should be 2 games in an episode, I'll put 2 games in an episode. Otherwise, it'll be single games per episode like we used to do with the Broncos franchise. And before the video gets started, consider joining the channel and becoming a member and joining the community Discord. Let's get into it. The main thing to mention today is some new recruits to the board. I went through and looked at any 4 stars that we could maybe still get at potential positions of need. We did lose out on a few wide receivers that I was going after, so I have added Monte Stoner to my board, but he has a lot of offers and a lot of teams pursuing him quite heavily. I don't know how much we'll be able to sort of slide in here and maybe get in the hunt, but I think it's worth a shot. We did lose out on a 6'4" physical wide receiver earlier, and so I was interested in getting another one. And then there's center Tommy Podlesny. Center is not a position I have worried that much about because you can always move guards around and find good centers. Like Torian Johnson, for example, is a tackle for us playing center. So I'm going after Tommy Podlesny to find a true center. And we are already 7th on his board. He liked us going in, and I guess I just didn't see him at first, but it looks like we should be able to get into the mix with a team like Virginia. And then a safety in Justice Willis, but it's really just those 3 new guys. Outside of that, it's all the same guys you've seen before. Terrence Cook, very close to committing. Nebraska is making a bit of a push now, and he does visit Nebraska week 13, so that's something to keep an eye on. We've got Joseph Flanagan, the tight end, visiting in week 13, and Notre Dame is making some ground up on us, and he is visiting them week 12. It is currently week 11, so the next few weeks are going to be pretty crucial as to whether or not we get Joseph on the team. Other than that, it's the same 3-star guys we were going after before, and we currently have a lead on just about all of them, and of course, all of our commits thus far. We've only got 3 games left of the regular season, and here is how everyone is doing to this point. Cole Welliver, 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions since taking over as the primary starter. Robinson had an incredible sort of first 4 or 5 games of the year, but has slowed down a bit in recent weeks, but still easily going to pass 1,000 yards this season, assuming he stays healthy. In the receiving game, I don't know if Porter is going to reach 1,000 yards this year, or at least probably not in the regular season. The yardage numbers have improved a lot since Welliver took over, but he's still on the low end, and especially with Tobin being mixed in, it's not helping his cause, but each of them do have 8 touchdown grabs. Marcus Angler's been a little bit more involved in the last couple weeks, getting a touchdown and has 240 yards. Defensively, our leader in total tackles is Raheem Lovelace with 72. He also leads the team in solo tackles with 36. He also leads the team in tackles for loss with 17. I've been talking up Joey Terrell a bunch, but in the last episode, Raheem Lovelace kind of proved that he is that guy. Unfortunately, he does have bricks for hands, so Terrell does lead in interceptions, but there was a comment on the last episode, Terrell plus Lovelace got to be the best linebacker duo in college football, and it is absolutely insane. You've got the elite pass coverage guy in Joey Terrell, the elite run stopper in Raheem Lovelace. It's just a deadly combo. The leader on the team in deflections is Santos and Lovelace, who each have 8. And Lovelace has forced 2 of the 3 fumbles we have forced this season, the injured Logan Stern forcing the other one. It's worth mentioning that Shamar Porter has already broken the UConn career record for touchdowns as a receiver, and he's only about 35 receptions away from breaking the receptions record for a receiver. He's very unlikely to get the yardage. He's quite short on that currently, but might break the receptions one. And before we head into the game against Liberty, here's what the college football playoff bracket looks like. We are currently listed as the 7 seed to face off against Oregon. I think this is obviously going to change a lot, but as long as we win out, we should be a top team in the college football playoff, and that will be our first appearance in it. I honestly think that if we do lose one of these final 3 games, we'll probably miss it by just a hair. But how will the Huskies match up against the Liberty Flames back on the road today? The Flames are not one of the best best teams on paper in the Big 12, but have quietly had a very good season. In fact, they share the same record as us, 7-2, but they are 5-2 in the conference, where we are 6-1. Can UConn, the 6th-ranked team in the country, beat a team that they're supposed to? Liberty starts with the football today. They are led by senior quarterback Jaden Bradford, who does, by the way, have 99 change of direction despite only the 79 speed. Halfback 1 is Caden Williams. He is a junior. And their backup is Robert Ayodele. And then at wide receiver, they're relatively weak. Not a single guy over 80 overall. Jeremy Browning being the wide receiver 1. Then they've got Henry Hilbert, a freshman, Isaac Kuhn, a sophomore, and Zach Bush, also a sophomore. So they are relatively young at the position. It will only improve. And at tight end, they are led by Connie Hewitt II. I think the main guy you have to be worried about on this team is Caden Williams, the halfback. Although this is Ayodele in the backfield. He gets the first carry of the day and he meets Joey Terrell, a guy I am sure he will see time and time again. They are another team that likes to run tempo. After the loss of 1, it's 2nd and 11. And it's another handoff, Ayodele, and meet Joey Terrell. Yet again, a pickup of 3 to set up a 3rd and 8. So if they run with tempo, it's just going to be whatever halfback is on the field. And for now, that's Ayodele. All kinds of time to throw for Bradford, stepping up in the pocket. Joey Terrell involved on another tackle, but allowing the first down. Need a better pass rush there. That is not on the coverage. You can only cover guys for so long. On 1st and 10, it's a fake, and then down goes Bradford. It's Raheem Lovelace in the backfield for the sack in TFL. As the linebacker duo already going to work today. So far, they've been involved on every single play. And now they do make the switch at halfback. Caden Williams is in the game. He has incredible speed, 95 to be exact, and he'll get the carry here, but D'Angelo Townsend sets a nice edge. Lovelace involved again, and it's 3rd and 14. So on a 3rd and long, Bradford looking to convert again. All kinds of time once more. He wants it all. Hutchison is in the area, and it's knocked away by the sophomore safety, and the Flames will punt it away to start their day. Here is the UConn offense. Darrell Robinson has been struggling with some injury issues in recent weeks, but that's kind of what happens when you end up being as much of a workhorse as he has. He'll get the first carry of the day here, and he finds 9 yards. On 2nd down and 1, Welliver will go back to pass. And he's looking for Tobin deep down the field. It's a step overthrown by Cole Welliver. He had him. And now it's 3rd and 1 instead. Welliver will want that one back. The connection between him and Tobin on the deep ball has been incredible this season, as Darrell Robinson finds a burst of speed and finds a first. So he's nice to go for those deep shots on 2nd and short, because it's basically an automatic first with a guy like Darrell Robinson in the backfield on the 3rd and short, assuming we don't get it. Now it'll be 2nd and medium. 2nd and 7 from the 42. Welliver back to throw, and he wants Tobin again, gets it to him. He's got some speed down the field and gets up to the enemy 23. 1st and 10 UConn. The Welliver to Dorian Tobin connection strikes again. On 2nd and 7 from the 20, Welliver back to pass again. Gonna take the check down to Angler, but knocked out. Now it's a 3rd down and 7. The drive may be stalling out here for UConn. Welliver scrambling here left side. If only he had better speed. He's brought down from behind. Picks up 3. But now we're going to have to kick a field goal from that left hash. Kick from Costanzo on its way, and that is through. So we'll start today with a 3-0 lead for UConn. Little over halfway through the first quarter now, as Bradford back on the field with the Liberty offense. He'll keep it this time. Stiff arming Daniel Hutchison, and a huge hit laid by Jamie Santos. Santos not wanting to see his other DB embarrassed, so he embarrasses Bradford right back. This is a handoff to Ayodele, and he'll get 5 yards. That sets up a 2nd down and 5. Seems like Ayodele may actually be their preferred back, as this is a check down to the tight end, Connie Hewitt. From the 34, big 3rd down, he looks to throw, throwing off his back foot, wants it all, and that is incomplete. I'm not sure if he caught it, but either way, the ruling on the field, incomplete, and Liberty will punt it away again. 1st and 10 for UConn, as Welliver in the offense takes back over. Welliver wants it all for Tobin again, and this time he gets the deep shot to him. Welliver to Tobin on the corner route, 1st and 10 up to the Liberty 32. 4 minutes left in the first quarter, and it's going to be a reverse for Tobin. Can't make the man miss, and he's going to lose a couple yards. They do not fall for the reverse, so now it's 2nd and long as Welliver will be back to pass. Blitz on its way, finding Jackson Harper, who finds the edge and the first up inside the 20 now to the 19. Jump forward to play it, 2nd and 10. And Welliver fakes the handoff. Huge blitz coming from the Flames. Gets it to Robinson before taking a sack, but it's still a loss of 2 to set up a 3rd and 12. 2 minutes left in the first quarter on 3rd and 12. We're back to throw with Welliver. He wants Schmizniak in zone, and he holds on through the contact. Touchdown, Dalton Schmizniak. He had 2 of them in the last game. Gets another one here. More involved in the offense, and I think we may have found a red zone threat. He's a guy where we're in this part of the field, and you got to give someone a jump ball. Seems like he's good for it. Touchdown UConn. They'll take a 10-0 lead. 1st and 10 for the Liberty Flames as they take back over on offense. Down 2 scores already. Great carry for Ayodele. Daniel Hutchison making the tackle. So it gives them another fresh set of downs, and it's a keeper for the quarterback. Chadwick can't make the tackle, but does push Bradford back into Raheem Lovelace. No gain there. It's 2nd and 10 from the 38. Out of the hurry up again. Bradford throws quickly, finding the tight end. That's Connie Hewitt again, and now it's 3rd and 7. From the 41, I would imagine they're going to the air here, but Bradford is changing the play. Takes the snap and does look to throw. And that one is going to be incomplete. I was about ready to say interception. George Kiki played that perfectly, but did not make the catch. Would have been an easy pick 6, but we'll take the punt away as the next best thing. Just wish some of our defenders had better hands. A great return here for Terry Overhauser. Spins out the punter, but forced back to the inside. Makes it up to the 46. This one looking like it has potential to get out of hand rather quickly. 1st and 10 for the 46 for the UConn Huskies. 2nd and 2. Welliver will hand off, and that is a pancake block and a half from Torian Johnson. And it leads to a big pickup for Darrell Robinson to the Liberty 31. And that puts Robinson over 1,000 yards rushing on the season here in his senior year. Second quarter officially underway, and it's 1st and 10 from the 31. Another big blitz from the Flames. Welliver scrambling, buying time for Dorian Tobin to get open, and he does. A 1st down for the Huskies. Welliver, despite the slow speed, is actually pretty good at throwing on the run. 1st down and 10, though. This time we're going to keep it on the ground. Robinson makes a move, but can't make anyone miss. Gets 4. 2nd and 6 from the Liberty 15 as Robinson cuts this one back. Another pancake block from Torian Johnson. And it's a 1st and goal at the 8. So a first attempt with goal to go. Porter comes over in motion, and he's going to be completely untouched. Touchdown, UConn. Shamar Porter with his 9th on the season off of the jet touch pass. The senior wideout has been incredible for us every single year, and he continues to show out, and especially now in his senior season. I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but it does sort of seem like UConn is just the better team in this situation, as this time they do actually have Caden Williams in the backfield. He gets 9 to 10 yards on his first pickup, although I do believe he had one other carry on an earlier drive. Now 2nd and inches. They go back Williams' way, and yeah, I just straight up think he's the better running back, and clearly the O-line thinks so too, as they're blocking a lot better for him. But like I was saying, it just kind of seems like Liberty not quite on the same level as UConn, at least so far today. Maybe I'll be eating my words a little bit later. This drive is off to a much better start for the Flames. It's obviously still very early, but we are already up 3 scores, 17 to nothing. But I believe this is the furthest Liberty has made it downfield. Lovelace there to make the tackle on Williams. He does not get very far. On 2nd and 9, I sort of anticipate they'll keep it on the ground again, and they do. Williams with a decent carry this time, and Cam Chadwick brings him down to set up a 3rd and 6. Kind of in a no man's land territory. Could see this being 4 down territory for the Flames. All kinds of time to throw for Bradford. Nearly intercepted by Robert Butts, but he knocks it down, and they will not be going for it. They will punt it away, and UConn an opportunity to extend this lead even further. I mentioned at the start of the episode, if there is a game that is a blowout or kind of boring. We might just move on to the next one, and I'll make sure to do 2 games in an episode. Well, it's sort of looking like this might be one of those at this point, as Robinson gets a good carry up to the 34. That's a first. Another first down and 10 for UConn. We've worked with a lot of those so far today. Now a 2nd down and 5 after the pickup. On 2nd and 5, Welliver to throw, and he has Angler wide open by himself. Lots of run after catch, nearly to the Liberty 40. They mark him at the 42. Just been easy to move the football here today for UConn, as Robinson gets another carry, finds a lane where maybe it should have been a TFL, and it's 9 yards instead. What a play by Darrell Robinson. On 2nd and 1 from the 32, another big blitz coming from Liberty, but a deep ball from Welliver to Tobin. He overthrows it by a step again. Man, you don't see that a lot from Welliver these days, but now it's a 3rd and 1. A stacked box for Liberty. Looks like they know where this ball is going. The question is, can they stop it? Not when Torian Johnson throws blocks like that. And there's an injured player for Liberty, but it's a first down for UConn. From about the 30, it's 1st and 10. Another big blitz on the way. We'll get this off to Dalton Schmizniak, who finds 7 more yards. They're sending a lot of blitzes, but so far they just aren't really working. Looking like it's going to be no different this time. Robinson making a man miss and getting up to the 15 for another first. First down and 10 from the 15, as Welliver will hand off Max Cadet. Cadet really nowhere to go. So we'll try again on a 3rd down and 9. Shamar Porter, end zone touchdown, UConn. Welliver to Porter, an elite connection if there ever was one. Porter with another touchdown on his day. And this game already looking like it's going to be a blowout. 24-0 will be the score for the Flames when they take back over. At this point, I'll update you guys if anything interesting happens, but we're pretty much just going to go next. It's kind of looking like the game is just going to continue like this. Fast forward on that same drive. It's 1st and 10 from the 29 for Liberty. This has easily been their best drive of the day. That is completed. Pretty good coverage by Lovelace, but not good enough. If they can get on the board here, they might have a chance in the second half. We did not perform very well in the second half against Colorado, so I guess that's the only thing that Liberty can really hope for at this point. But down goes Bradford. It's Calvin Whitaker in the backfield. A loss of 6. Only a minute left to play in the half as Johnny McNulty jumps off sides. 2nd and 11 after the penalty. Back to pass again. Towards the end zone, touchdown Liberty. They're finally on the board. So maybe this one not quite out of reach. We do start with the ball in the second half, though. So we have 48 seconds. If we can score again and then find the end zone again out of halftime, then it's pretty much over. 44 seconds has been plenty of time for this offense in previous weeks. Blitz on its way, and Welliver back to pass. Wants Marcus Angler, floats it over the linebacker, and Angler gets out of bounds after the first down. Great throw there by Cole Welliver. Can't really ask much more than that. Tobin not in the game, I'm noticing. It's Jackson Harper in the slot currently. We're back to pass again. They're in the backfield quickly, but we get this to Shamar Porter, and he gets a first to the 33. 20 seconds left to play in the half. Terry Overhauser is in the game. We're going to go over the middle to Dan Sanders, though. Room to run after the catch, and we'll call a timeout after he goes down. 12 seconds left. From the 33, 12 seconds to go. Another blitz on its way. Welliver scrambling and just going to throw this one away, and we can take a shot at the end zone. On 2nd and 10, we'll take one final deep shot to the end zone. We want Shamar Porter. He makes the catch, but then it's punched out. That did leave 1 second on the clock. Porter beat his man down the field. Should have definitely held on to that one. We had exactly enough time to attempt that. And now Costanzo gets to attempt a long one. Kick is on its way. I did not give that the full meter, but it's through anyway. Zach Costanzo hits a 50-yarder. And UConn extends their lead going into halftime. And they'll have the ball again in the second half. Halftime, it's 27-7, and again, we'll go back to where I will update you if anything interesting happens. Game finally over, and Liberty did look a little bit more competent in the second half, finding 2 touchdowns, but we were running with Chester Roach and the backup offense and defense for basically the entire fourth quarter. This is just a game where we were the better team. We are on a different level than Liberty. I think we kind of knew this coming in, but It was good to see the execution of it. We looked like the best team from the get-go, and it's another dub for UConn, improving to 8-2 and now 7-1 in conference play. Chester Roach did attempt a couple of passes, completing the one which was actually just a jet touch pass to Terry Overhauser that actually could have gone to the end zone. I had him go down at about the 5 so that I could chew more clock and just get out of the game. By the way, it's worth mentioning Chester Roach has the highest development trait on the entire team. He's a redshirt sophomore, and he has crazy speed, 89 speed. He's the most similar to Dorian Tobin at the quarterback position that we have on the roster currently. He just hasn't seen any improvement year after year. But every other quarterback on the roster has impact development, and Roach has stars. So theoretically, his ceiling is higher. He just continues to not get upgrades. He's been basically at a 68 overall since the start, and he's not at his skill caps, so I don't know why. He's just not seeing improvement. But anyway, Cole Welliver, 16 for 23, 69% completion percentage, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Just another incredible day for the junior quarterback. At halfback, Darrell Robinson was subbed out for a lot of the second half, but did have 21 rushing attempts, 124 yards, but did not manage to get the touchdown. Max Cadet kind of stole one from him at the very end, coming into the end of a drive and getting a touchdown for free. And then Dan Boyd ended up getting a touchdown in garbage time as well. As for receiving, Shamar Porter, 4 grabs for 75 yards and 2 touchdowns. Dalton Schmizniak caught another deep ball from Cole Welliver about halfway through the third quarter. So he went 3 for 99 and 2 touchdowns. I love seeing him more involved in the offense. I think he's going to be a special player for us going forward. Gotta remember, he's only a freshman, and he's already playing very, very well. Dorian Tobin, 3 for 84, still the same deep threat guy as always, and then Angler with a couple catches as well. Blocking, Torian Johnson, 14 pancakes. You saw it happen all the time. I did not realize it was going to be in the double digits. 14 is absurd. He was terrible as our left tackle. He is incredible as our center. And defensively, it's the usual culprits. Raheem Lovelace with 10 total tackles leads the team, but D'Angelo Townsend with 6 solo tackles leads the team there. Joey Terrell with the 2 TFLs along with Lovelace and Whitaker, and Swan, Lovelace, and Whitaker all with the sack. No picks today, though. Just a really good game all the way around for UConn, and we can go ahead and advance the week. And this week, we go on the road to face BYU. This is actually the second season in a row that we're facing BYU on the road. This is another team that I think we should basically crush. They are even worse on paper than Liberty. By the way, you might see there is a number 3 up there in the top left. We are now the 3rd ranked team in the country. Why did that happen? A few teams must have lost, I guess. We jump all the way to 3rd after the dominant victory over Liberty. Oklahoma State, another Big 12 team, still just ahead of us, though, and UNC is currently the top team in the country out of the ACC. The SEC just having a bad year this year. I mean, still a great year for just college football standards. Georgia's the 4th ranked team, 8-2. USC did lose to Iowa. They drop out of the top 3. And Clemson lost to Kentucky. They also dropped out of the top 3. So I think we mostly moved up just due to other teams falling. Clemson, by the way, has 3 losses and yet are still in the top 10. They're the only team with 3 losses in the top 15 or even 16, as a matter of fact. Kansas State losing the rivalry battle to Kansas falls to rank number 12. They are now at risk of not making the college football playoff. Their only other loss is to us, currently ranked 3rd. And then Baylor, after having a great start to the season, has lost a couple games. They're now 8-2 and kind of on the outside looking in for the Big 12. It's looking like it's us and Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship as long as everything stays the same. Utah has quietly worked their way into the top 10. Haven't mentioned them much out of the Big 12 since we moved into the Big 12. They haven't really been all that special, but this year they're 8-2, a good win over West Virginia, and they're now in the top 10. They actually moved up 8 spots. And Auburn, who we face in the final week of the regular season, is 6-4, but are ranked once again. They did have that win against LSU this week. That is a big opponent to beat. Virginia, Northwestern, Arkansas, and Boston College all dropping from the rankings. So here's how the recruiting battles are going on the 3 new guys. We are now up to 4th on Tommy Podlesny. We are up to first immediately on Justice Willis. Oklahoma State is also in the mix. We're 7th for Stoner, and there's a lot of teams getting a lot of influence on him week to week. This is a battle that is going to be an uphill one for sure. I don't know if we can truly get into that top 3, but we're going to try our best. We've got points maxed out on him for now. We're looking pretty good for Terrence Cook, but he does visit Auburn this week, so we really want to pay attention to what Auburn does. They could theoretically steal him from us this week if they get enough influence. So we're hoping for an Auburn loss. Ohio State now in the mix on wide receiver Brett Gray. None of these big schools want to allow me to get a receiver. Ohio State gaining a ton of influence in this past week. Going to pass us up next week if they do the same thing again. I've switched him from a send the house onto a hard sell. We don't have the best hard sell, but in my experience, sending the house ever since the most recent recruiting update has been the most effective, even when you have like a C+ in there. And man, it is mighty close on Joseph Flanagan. It's actually looking like Notre Dame might steal him from us. He visits Notre Dame this week, week 12, and we are basically neck and neck. He doesn't visit us until week 13, but I think he's going to decide on his team this week, and Penn State is even still in the mix. This is a very close battle. I actually think we're going to lose this to Notre Dame. We really, really need a Notre Dame loss this week. And I'm looking at it, Notre Dame's actually on bye this week. So it's a guaranteed boost for this visit. It's not going to be a huge boost because it's not a game that they could win. If they win a game, you get even more bonuses when they visit. But being that they can't lose and therefore lose points, I think that they've basically just got it locked up because he's going to gain a lot more influence from the visit. And to be honest with you, there's just really nothing I can do. I've got him on the hard sell. I'm not doing hard sell, soft sell, because ever since the recruiting update, it seems like that doesn't work as well since you're guaranteed to have one wrong on the soft sell. So this is all I can do is just wait and see. He's going to visit with Notre Dame and hopefully he doesn't like what he sees. It's an important week for UConn in recruiting, but there's really nothing they can do but sit back and watch. Gotta hope that Auburn loses. And we have to hope that Joseph Flanagan, the tight end, does not like what he sees when he visits Notre Dame. But for now, it's time to focus on getting a victory against the Cougars here versus BYU. UConn rocking a little bit of a different jersey combo today. We've got the all-white unis, but with the blue C helmet. So let me know what you guys think of this combo. I kind of like the look of it so far with kind of the inverted look at the top as Robinson gets the carry to start the day and a pickup of 4. And of course, we've got BYU in those royal blues with the white helmet. So a little bit of an inverted look for both teams as Shamar Porter going to get the carry here. There's a flag down. It's probably going to be a holding, but if it's not, it's a huge pickup for Shamar Porter. But it is going to be a holding. Looks like that's on Jack Hines, the left tackle. A huge gain undone for Porter, and instead it's 2nd and 15. Robinson going to get his opportunity. That was a filthy juke move. Sets up a 3rd and 3. Max Cadet into the game, and it's a 3rd and 3 from the 32. Was expecting a blitz there from the Cougars, but it never came, so Angler gets the check down and the free first down for UConn. This is another team that we should just absolutely be dominating, to be honest. We are a better football team than this Cougars football club. Welliver back to pass, but hit as he throws. He wanted it all with Dorian Tobin. On 2nd down, Porter will come over in motion, and we're going to try that jet touch pass again. Porter finds the edge again. Jukes back to the inside. Can he break away to the end zone? No, brought down from behind at the 27, but still a huge pickup for Shamar Porter. No holding this time. The play stands. 2nd and 10, UConn from the 27. Robinson gets the carry. Burst of speed to the outside. See you later. Darrell Robinson into the end zone. Touchdown, Huskies. Hits the gritty on the ref. And it's 6 points for UConn. I've mentioned it a few times. He just has this burst of speed when you use the hard cut button, that L2 button, to make a cut, and he just leaves. And Robinson, like no other, has that ability, and it's something that I don't think Max Cadet has. It's something I'm a little worried about going into next season without Robinson. BYU heads on to the field, and they are led by junior quarterback Noah Lugo, who is up to an 84 overall. He does also have 85 speed. Quite the athlete. Their halfback one is Deshaun Marable. He's a guy that we saw last year as well. And then the backup is Brian Carmazzi. Wide receiver one is JoJo Phillips. Then they have Devin Downing, Steven Jasper, and J.R. Babcock. And then the tight end one is Terrell Beaver. Now, I said that this is a team that we should dominate similarly to how we did Liberty, but clearly this is a much higher powered offense, especially when it comes to weapons. There's always a reason that these teams are struggling though. BYU 4-6 on the season. Lugo back to pass on the very first play of the day, nearly intercepted. Cam Chadwick almost got there. It is a pickup of 6 though, and it's yet another team that runs with tempo. This is something we haven't been very good against typically. And I noticed the last game in particular, we are horrible against this read option. That was just complete coincidence that they ran a read option as I was saying that. Now it's a 3rd and 3 for Lugo and the offense as it's Marable in the backfield, and he will not get the carry, and down goes Lugo. It's Cam Chadwick getting the sack to force the 4th down, and BYU will have to punt on their first drive of the day. Another great start for UConn. And I mean, these are the types of games you want to get big victories in. You want to crush opponents that you're supposed to crush, beat opponents you're supposed to beat, and then win the games you're not supposed to. Now, there's been a few times that we've lost games that we maybe should have won, maybe against Cincinnati, although Arkansas was a really good opponent. 1st and 10, Welliver back to pass, and he'll find Marcus Angler, who will get the first. And he's up to the 33. On the move are the Huskies. 1st down and 10 as Welliver to throw again. Gets it to Tobin, and it's only going to be good for a pickup of a yard. On 2nd and 9, trying to set up a running back screen. Duga actually get it to Darrell Robinson. He's got running room and hits a juke. Finds his way to the 15, another first. It's just been entirely too easy for this offense in these last couple of weeks. As Cadet gets the carry here, Torian Johnson finding a block down the field, getting tripped up, a pickup of 6. It's an empty set for Welliver on 2nd down and 4. Goes over the middle for Dalton Schmizniak, breaks the tackle, and they'll give him forward progress. I probably would have backed it up if I were the ref, but I appreciate that call. He's down at the 2, where in reality I think he was down more like at the 5 or maybe the 4. But a 1st and goal for UConn from the 2. Darrell Robinson gets the carry. He can't get in. So now on 2nd and goal from the 2. Welliver to throw. Wants Tobin. Late throw, but Tobin makes the catch even through the contact. Touchdown, UConn. The junior quarterback to the freshman wide receiver has become a very deadly combination ever since Welliver took over the quarterback role. And now it's going to be 14-0 for UConn. 1st down and 10 for the Cougars from the 21 as Lugo looks to throw on 1st down. Checks it down to the tight end. Brings us to a 2nd and 3. Marble in the backfield, but he will not get the carry as Lugo looks to throw again. Tried to send his receiver down the field, but then overthrew it. Now it's 3rd down. Big 3rd and 3 here for BYU. Don't want to go 3 and out twice. Lugo to throw. Hit as he throws by Joey Terrell, and it falls incomplete. BYU will have to punt again. Terry Overhauser finding the edge on a return. He's got incredible speed. It's only 1 man to beat. 2 men to beat, actually, but they're both way too slow, and Terry Overhauser gets the punt return for the touchdown. He lost his wide receiver role when Dorian Tobin took over as the wide receiver 2. Schmizniak started outperforming him, but Overhauser, there's one thing you can't teach, and that's the speed he has. Some of the best speed on the football team, putting it on display on the punt return team, and getting even more points for the Huskies. And real quick, before some of you go to the comments and try to claim that I turned down the difficulty, we take a look at the settings, it is still on Heisman. I truly do just think that these last couple games are just a situation where it's a lesser team against a better team in UConn, and UConn is just crushing them as better teams do. A must-score situation. I don't think that it's crazy to say that in the first quarter. This one is completed, though, as George Kiki kind of fell asleep at the wheel. Well, it's a must-score situation. I think they're going to do just that. No, he stopped just short. It was JoJo Phillips on a 72-yard reception. I got kind of cooked by the automatic switching. I was trying to switch to a different defensive lineman, got switched on to George Kiki, and then let a big play happen. 1st and goal from the 8 for BYU. Well, it said it was a must-score situation. It's looking like they're going to do that very quickly, but Cam Chadwick reads the read option there. In the second half of that Liberty game, we got absolutely torched by read option time after time. So we are a team that maybe struggles to read the read option. As here's another one, but it's going to be to the halfback, and he does actually get into the end zone. Touchdown Cougars. So on just 3 plays, BYU gets into the end zone. After I said it's a must-score drive, after the 72-yard reception for Joe Phillips, it's going to be 21-7. 2 minutes left to go in the first quarter. Still up 2 touchdowns, so not super worried at this point. Darrell Robinson gets the carry, cuts this back, tries to make the safety miss, but can't do so. Still has 9 yards, though. There is nobody lined up on Dorian Tobin. Why would you make that mistake? Just get the ball his way. See you later. Dorian Tobin not going to be caught by anyone. Touchdown UConn on just another couple of plays. What is BYU doing? It looked like they were going to send a massive blitz. I saw Tobin was just over there on the right by himself. I figured wherever I pass lead it doesn't matter as long as it's in the vicinity because all he has is open space in front of him. Touchdown UConn. This game is weird sometimes. Like, look at this stacked box. You can't see the animation here, but they had brought one of the safeties down. They've got one of the corners on the left side who looks like he's going to be blitzing, but then they all drop back. It's actually only a 3-man rush, which is hilarious. But then Tobin, no deep safety, just by himself, and I did the pass lead to the right just to ensure that none of these guys in the middle could even get close, because I knew as soon as he had the football, he was just gone. I can't believe what I'm seeing. 28 points here in the first quarter. It's 28-7 in favor of the Huskies. Only giving up the big play touchdown on the last drive to BYU. 1-yard pickup. 2nd down and 9. It's going to be a fake to Marable, and then Lugo will check it down to him. Wow, a huge burst of speed. Good tackle there by George Kiki. Brings us to a 3rd down and 1. Well, they go to the ground here. Lugo out of the shotgun. It's a delayed handoff, but we're already in the backfield. Cam Chadwick and Corin Daly for the TFL, and BYU is punting again. UConn trying to solidify their playoff case, just crushing these lesser teams to make it known that we can face off against the biggest stage, against the biggest competition. We're into the second quarter. As Robinson gets the carry again, makes a man miss, and gets 5. It's looking like another game where we're going to end up bringing in backups. I'll probably let Neil Powell or maybe even Calvin Plummer come in as the quarterback if that's the case. So we look to throw, and Welliver underthrown for Porter. I don't want to get ahead of myself too much. It is only the second quarter. Of course, BYU can get back into this game. 3rd and 5. It's just incredibly unlikely, of course, as Jackson Harper gets a 1st down pretty easily up to the 24. I was about to say next season I'll make sure that we have some tougher matchups, but these are just conference opponents. So these are teams we're just going to have to play from time to time, and it's good that we're dominating them as Shamar Porter gets a good one here. Tried to spin 3 different defenders, gets to the 5. I also think that pushed Welliver over 2,000 yards on the season. Did not obviously start the first 4 or so games. 1st and goal from the 5. Robinson, nowhere to go, loses 2. Now a 2nd and goal from the 7 as Welliver is back to pass. And he wants Tobin again, holds on, takes a big hit, but does not get into the end zone. So it's a 3rd and goal from the 2. Can BYU make the stand, or will Darrell Robinson punch it in? That's exactly what he does. Touchdown UConn, dominating the BYU Cougars. Darrell Robinson getting another one on the season, having a great senior year to end off his college career. And with 8 minutes left in the second, it's going to be 35-7. I am going to play this game out and post the rest of it in this video as well, just to give you guys some entertainment if you want to watch the rest of the game, but I will put a timestamp on screen here if you want to jump cut to the end. Kind of a weird episode because of back-to-back blowout type of situations. But at a certain point, we'll bring in the backups and we'll start showcasing them a bit. And if you want to learn more about kind of the future Huskies team, what it's going to look like after some other guys graduate, maybe stick around. 2nd and 3 from the 32 out of the shotgun for Lugo, who will hand it off delayed to Marable, but he goes backwards. D'Angelo Townsend and Joey Terrell are there for the TFL, which brings up a 3rd down and 7 for the Cougars, and they're actually going to hand it off. A great tackle there from Calvin Whitaker, saving a huge pickup for Marable, and it's another punt for BYU. Is it too early to just put ourselves in chew clock mode as Robinson gets another carry. I don't want to bring the starters out just yet. I feel like I probably already could, but I want to give these, you know, guys their opportunity to get their stats on the season. Have a huge blowout game. Man, I want to throw deep so bad here, but we're going to stick to the ground game as Robinson gets a carry, finds the edge. Good blocking downfield. Can't make the last man miss, but does get a first. Max Cadet will check in for a play. 5.5 left here in the first half. Cadet, the power back, but with the best speed in the running back room. Cadet's a super interesting player, I think, just because he doesn't have that burst that Robinson does, but his top speed is just better. Speaking of guys with top speed, there's Dorian Tobin again. Touchdown, UConn. This is just getting ridiculous. His third touchdown grab on the day, as these slot corners just can't keep up with Dorian Tobin. He is absolutely incredible. We are currently on pace for 84 points. Can BYU stop the bleeding? The offense hasn't been able to do much outside of that one deep shot down the field. Well, looks like they're going to have something here. Broken tackle from Robert Butts. I wonder if the CPU will bring in their backups for the second half. That was kind of my plan, depending on how the rest of this first half goes. Lugo brings a man over in motion and then looks to throw, running out of time, scrambling. This one knocked away by George Kiki. And you know what? I've been impressed with George Kiki recently. There was a period of time where he was benched for Hepburn, and then I feel like ever since he's come back from that short break that he's been really, really good. And I have nothing but positive things to say about the future for George Kiki. He, of course, has elite development. Him and Santos both have elite development. And then we've got another middle linebacker with elite development. We've got Adonis Keogh, who has star development. I mean, the pieces are in place for this defense to be incredible for a long time to come. Chadwick, not the best coverage, but does force that out, and BYU punts again. This is insane. I just checked Darrell Robinson's yardage on the day. He is 1 yard shy of 100 for the day. I think that if we're going to shut anyone down earlier, it's going to be him. I just want him to get the 100, and he got 2 there, so at 101, let's take him out. So for the rest of the day, it'll be Max Cadet and Shaq McBath. Obviously, Robinson has struggled with a few injury issues this season. Just don't want to risk anything. Plus, Cadet seems to be doing solidly as he fumbles the football as I say that. I feel like he was clearly very down. BYU taking over. Cadet has had some fumbling issues this season. This is not the first time we've seen him do this. I just want to watch the replay really quick. I swear, is his elbow not just way down right there before he coughs that up? I'm going to challenge the play. I typically avoid challenging because I know the CPU would not in this case, but it's a game that we're blowing out at the moment. Let's just get the challenge and keep the football. And it was overturned, but now Cadet is cold. Should we be concerned about any future fumbles from Cadet? Torian Johnson is insane at center. Absolutely absurd. Inside of 2 minutes left to play here in the first half. We've got a couple one-on-ones potentially. Schmizniak is one-on-one with a star corner. I want to see if he can beat his man down the field. No, he can't. We'll get it over the middle to Angler, but he drops it. It's not actually who I was intending to throw that to. I wanted the drag underneath, but I forgot what button it was. As Welliver going to be hit as he throws. Falls incomplete. So now it's a 3rd down and 10 from the 43. Welliver back to pass. You already know who he wants. It's Dorian Tobin. He had to slow up a little bit, but it doesn't matter. Touchdown, UConn. Dorian Tobin just outclassing the BYU Cougars today. BYU takes over. They do start with the ball in the second half. You never know, I guess. As Lugo looks to throw, running out of time. Hit as he throws by Corin Daly. Finds his halfback, but it is only a pickup of 5. Minute 33 left in the half. Lugo back to pass again. Under some pressure from Corin Daly again. Gets the check down to the running back. And that's good for a first. But an injury timeout to the spark plug. Johnny McNulty down with an injury. He did exit the Liberty game for a while with some wear and tear. Hopefully that is not serious. There's a reason I call that man the spark plug, and it's because he just gets the defense going. When he is on the field, the defense plays better. He might not make huge plays, but the defense rallies around the kid. And as a matter of fact, I think probably next season when he's a junior, he'll be a team captain. And he may not even play that much because he might get overtaken by guys like Adonis Keogh, like Kevin October. Bruised ribs for McNulty. Says he'll return soon, but we'll probably keep him out for the rest of the day. And in the second half, I mean, we're just going to be subbing in all the backups, to be honest with you. He'll just be out for the remainder. It's Alan Rudock who is over there on the end instead of him, but this time it's the other end, D'Angelo Townsend, who has quietly had a very good season since taking over the left end position. He is normally an outside linebacker, but he's a pretty good power rusher. And now it's going to be 4th and 14 for BYU, and I imagine they punted away. So we head to halftime, and it's 49-7. I mean, what is there to say? We're just dominating BYU. They're one of the worst teams in the Big 12. Really not a shocker here. UConn improving year after year and proving that they're one of the top dogs in the Big 12 this season. And you know what? Funny enough, the CPU already made the substitutions for me. We could see Chester Roach play. I'm going to be honest with you guys. He is terrible. 76 short, 73 medium, 72 deep. He's really not good. He just happens to have the highest dev trait on the team. We're going to let Neil Powell play a bit and maybe even a little bit of the other true freshman, Calvin Plummer. It's going to be a lot of Dan Boyd and Don Lambo out of the halfback room. The wide receivers, Terry Overhauser, Jackson Harper, Edward McClinton, Brock Montgomery, and then some true freshmen in Russ McLeod and Tevin Madu, who we have not seen yet this season. And then a couple other true freshmen at tight end in Charles Van Horn and Jay Joe. And of course, Dan Sanders will take over. And in fact, let's just go ahead and sub out Dan. I think that he is a pretty crucial part of this offense. I would hate to see him get injured before we head into what is hopefully the playoffs. So it's going to be a lot of Trey Keenan, a lot of Charles Van Horn, a lot of Jay Joe. Lots of new faces here in the second half, but it is still the starting unit for BYU. They have not given up here. I guess it is the end of their season. If they don't win here, they have no way to get a bowl game, actually. So you've got Ty Vick, Alan Swan, Adonis Keogh, and Alan Rudock on the defensive line. Alan Swan, obviously a name you've heard a couple times this season. Hepburn, you've seen time and time again. Kiki is still in the game. We don't have a ton of depth at corner, so there weren't a ton of guys we could bring in over guys like Hepburn and Kiki, so they will continue to play, but Santos and Chadwick have been sidelined as we're in the backfield, but that's completed. That's JoJo Phillips on the reception. It was AJ Hepburn in coverage there. 1st and 10 from the 43 for Lugo, who hands it off to Marable, and he will go down to Addison Biggs at the 46. Addison Biggs, another one of those really good linebackers. Why is Raheem Lovelace in the game? There's absolutely no world where he should be in this football game at this point, as this time it's going to be Giuliano actually getting in the way of Joshua Dora and preventing a tackle from being made. I am failing to figure out how Raheem Lovelace is in the game right now. He is not in anywhere on the depth chart. He's not in at sub linebacker. He's not in at middle linebacker. He's not in at outside linebacker. It doesn't matter what position we look at. He's not in. But for some reason, he's still playing. If he gets injured this game, I'll never forgive EA. 2nd and 6 from the 28 for BYU. Haven't really had many injury concerns with Lovelace, but I mean, you never know. Joshua Dora makes a sure tackle. I got to figure out a way to get him out of the game. There's nothing I can do. He's just in the game. He refuses to quit. I cannot take him out of the game. Regardless of what I do with the depth chart, he's going to be in the game. So, Marable gets the carry. Loss of 2. It's Addison Biggs in the backfield getting hyped up by Alan Rudock. Some of these numbers might be subject to change. I haven't updated a lot of these guys yet, so just keep that in mind. Here's Adonis Keogh. He's a good guy to look out for. Has the star development at the end position. One of the future edge rushers of this team. It's actually our first time seeing him. Where's number 91 here over on the right side of your screen? Alan Rudock, funny enough, is a middle linebacker. He's just got good block shedding and edge rushing ability, so he'll play over there from time to time, knocked away. That's Joshua Dora, who wears the hoodie under the jersey. And BYU will settle for the field goal, and then we'll get to see the UConn backup offense, which should be pretty fun. So here is Neil Powell. He right now is my favorite of the quarterback prospects. And I think if he sees significant improvement next season, he could potentially steal Cole Welliver's starting job. I know Welliver's been incredible this year. Really, I think the only way Welliver loses his job is if he plays super poorly to start next season, or I guess if he decides to transfer. 1st and 10 from the 35 as Powell's back to pass, and he wants Charles Van Horn, makes the grab, as this is the true freshman tight end with some of the better speed of the tight end players we have. Keep in mind, this is also a different offensive line unit, so the blocking may not be as good as Neil Powell's going to throw a pick here. And watch out, a pick 6 here for BYU means that it's not that far away still. I mean, it's obviously still very, very far away, but they'll probably still keep the starters in because of that. 49-17 still your score, though. Bad decision to throw there by me. No worries. Neil Powell is now cold, though. 1st and 10 from the 25. This is Don Lambo. With a name like Lambo, you'd think maybe he's fast. He's really not that quick. Pick up a 5, though. 2nd and 5 is Dan Boyd checks back into the game from the 30. He'll get the carry. Good blocking. Finds the first at the 36. 2nd and 10 from the 36 as Powell's back to throw again. He wanted Edward McClinton, but could not get that off in time. So 3rd and 10 from the 36 for Powell and the offense. He gets this to Brock Montgomery, and he gets the first up to the 48. Brock Montgomery, only a junior this season, could take over a more significant role next year after guys like Shamar Porter graduate. Powell looking for a deep shot. He wants Terry Overhauser, and he's got him to the 25. Good blocking there from the O-line. From the 25, Powell will hand off to Dan Boyd, who makes a cut and gets up to the 15. We'll see what kind of role Dan Boyd carves out for himself as well. He seems like he's a pretty good little running back we've got here. Trucks over a defender and gets inside the 10. Good play there from Dan Boyd. I've been impressed so far. Don Lambo back in the game, but McClinton's going to come over in motion, and it's the jet touch pass. Lambo picks up the one block he needed to, and McClinton places down the football basically on the goal line. Touchdown, UConn. It's Edward McClinton. He's a guy that we picked up in the transfer portal, thinking that he would have a bigger role. Also just a junior, could maybe see a bigger role next season, but we do have a lot of up-and-coming younger guys. Dalton Schmizniak, of course, only a freshman. Dorian Tobin, if he remains a receiver, only a freshman this year. Raheem Lovelace just refuses to get off this football field. What an absolute stud. Just wants to play no matter what. That's the storyline we'll tell ourselves, is that's forced out by Nick Giuliano. I need to adjust Giuliano's jersey. I don't like to have more than one guy with the sort of tucked uniform. I like Joshua Dora with it. Giuliano makes another play. 3rd and 10. From the 18, Lugo still in the game. Back to pass. All kinds of time and finding the man on the corner route. That's J.R. Babcock on the reception. 1st and 10 Cougars as we near the end of the 3rd quarter. Lugo back to pass over the middle. It's another situation where Giuliano runs into Hepburn. That route combination just gets players to run into each other, I guess, as we'll enter the 4th quarter. 2nd and 5 from the 49. Lugo is out of the shotgun. Does look to throw under some pressure from Ty Vick. And that is a completion to JoJo Phillips. I don't know how to get Raheem Lovelace out of the game. He is not listed in the game anywhere. Lugo, under some pressure again, scrambling to his right, runs into Adonis Keogh, where he throws it away at the 45. So a big 2nd and 10, 10.5 left to play in the game. Lugo throws, misses his tight end, who was beating Addison Biggs. So now it's a 3rd down and 10 from the 45. Lugo wants it all, taking a deep shot. Joshua Dora is there, and he knocks it down, and now it's 4th and 10. But they are going to go for it here. Of course, they kind of have to. Desperation mode for certain, being 56-17. Lugo throws, has a target. Bad play by George Kiki there, allowing the reception down the field. It's a 1st and 10 to the 17. It does sort of seem like Kiki not ready to be that number 1 guy, but clearly ready to have a role on this defense. Lugo throws quickly. Kiki forces a fumble, and it's recovered by Alan Swan, I believe, is number 93. 1st and 10 UConn. He's waving goodbye to the crowd up 56-17. That's crazy, Alan. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that was an incompletion and not a fumble, but it is what it is. I mentioned that that's typically why I don't call challenges, is because the CPU, BYU CPU, will not call a challenge on plays like that, as Lambo gets a good carry here. Good blocking by Terry Overhauser. And at this point, it's just full chew clock mode. I'll let you guys know if and when something interesting happens, but for the most part, we're just going to be carrying the ball here with Dan Boyd. Well, something interesting happened only a couple of plays later as Powell went back to pass. Big blitz on its way from BYU. Probably should have just taken the check down on the left side here, or maybe just the check down to Dan Boyd. Instead, I tried to go to Van Horn over the middle, and he was hit as he throws, and it's just a little off the mark, intercepted. Couple interceptions for Powell. Interesting that I throw them with him, but I do not throw them with Cole Welliver for whatever reason. I am playing a little bit looser, obviously. being up as much as we are. I also can't believe that BYU is still running the football at this point. Why would you call a run play down as much as you are? And there's play action. Lugo over the middle, finding his target. That's Steven Jasper, by the way. I think that's like his 3rd catch on the day. First and goal from the 8 for the Cougars. They bring Jasper in motion. They know it's man-to-man. And then they throw to the end zone, incomplete. George Kiki didn't even see it, but got a deflection anyway. Lugo out of the shotgun on 2nd and goal from the 8. Hands off. Marable brought down by Raheem Lovelace. Doesn't get it. 3rd and goal from the 4. Back to passes. Lugo blitz on its way, but a touchdown pass completed to Steven Jasper. And they'll chip away at this huge lead for UConn. It's going to be 56-24 after the PAT. You know what I'm noticing about Dan Boyd as we're doing these carries with the backup offense to chew the clock is that he seems to have that explosiveness that Cadet kind of lacks. So is he the future elusive back and Cadet kind of the power mix-up? It does seem like in college football 25, the elusive backs tend to be better than the power backs. 1st and 10 from the 49. I always love to have a good running back duo. So I definitely think Cadet is obviously part of that, but he doesn't feel like a Robinson replacement to me. Whereas Dan Boyd so far very much has. He runs very similarly to Robinson and has that fast cutback speed. You see how quick that is. I do believe that Darrell Robinson has 99 change of direction, so Dan Boyd probably has higher change of direction than Max Cadet, but it just works a lot better with him as he gets a first to the 37. Well, there you have it. Game over. 2 blowouts in today's episode. Wow, I cannot believe that first half. 28 in the first quarter, 21 in the second. UConn dominates BYU from the start. Dorian Tobin having another just insane game off the deep ball from Cole Welliver. His speed plus Welliver's ability to throw deep is just absolutely incredible. Welliver doesn't have the strongest arm, but he does have about 95 throw power, and of course has some of the best deep accuracy around. So it makes sense that they make quite the duo. The 9th win on the season for UConn, the 7th loss on the year for BYU, and they can no longer make a bowl game. Take a look at player stats. Welliver, 13 for 18, 4 touchdowns, no picks. I did throw 2 interceptions with Neil Powell, however. 72% completion percentage with Welliver. Rushing, Robinson got over the century mark before being checked out. And hey, Dan Boyd, 11 for 86, 7.8 per carry. Max Cadet was really good today as well. I don't want to get too hyped about Dan Boyd. He did have a very good game, and it does seem like maybe he's a really good replacement for Robinson if he can see some improvements. But it was against BYU. They're clearly a team that struggled to stop us offensively at all. I mean, all 3 of the backs who got a good chunk of carries were over 7 yards per carry, but then Don Lambo actually 0.2 per carry. Receiving, Dorian Tobin, 6 for 167 and 4 touchdowns. Absolutely absurd for the freshman receiver. Porter 2 for 54, Angler with a couple grabs, Overhauser with a couple grabs, Montgomery had a catch, Van Horn we got to see for the first time, Edward McClinton got a touchdown. Torian Johnson only played half the game, but still ended up with 6 pancakes. And defensively, Raheem Lovelace, despite staying in, did not lead the team in total tackles. In fact, Joey Terrell, who did not play in the second half at all, led the team with 7 along with George Kiki. George Kiki led in solo tackles though with 6. Good game for George Kiki. Townsend and Chadwick with 2 TFLs, and Townsend and Chadwick each with a sack. And again, no interceptions today for the defense. What a weird episode this was. I've never had it where I've done 2 games in an episode and both games have been blowouts. Probably not the most entertaining episode in the world, I imagine. Let's go ahead and advance, though. The most interesting thing about this week was those recruiting battles. I do think that we're going to lose out on the tight end, Joseph Flanagan. We do get Terrence Cook to commit, however. And yes, we do lose Flanagan. With it being that he was visiting Notre Dame in week 12, and it was a bye week, they were guaranteed to get additional sort of bonuses on recruiting. So it makes sense. It's a little unfortunate. Tight end, not a huge need for us, to be honest, as Dorian Tobin wins Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week, but not National Offensive Player of the Week. Auburn now no longer in the top 25, losing another game. They are 6-5. I'm curious to see their overalls, though. Yeah, they are so good. 89 down the board. The SEC is just different, man. They're 6-5 because they play in the SEC. If they're in any other conference, except maybe the Big 10, they're probably just undefeated, completely slaughtering all of their opponents. We're looking really good to make a college football playoff spot. It's crazy that we have to play Auburn next, a very, very good football team. If we lose, we could miss out. So this is a huge game coming up for UConn. But anyway, kind of a weird episode. I apologize for that. That's going to do it for this one, though. Thank you guys so much for watching and for the continued support. If you haven't already joined the community Discord, I'm in there chatting with people just about every day, and I think it's a pretty good time at least. And also consider hitting that join button and becoming a channel member down below. You can do so for as little as $1 per month, and it really helps me out a ton. And if you find yourself coming back on the regular and you aren't already subscribed, go ahead and hit that sub button for me. It does help me out a lot, and I will see you guys in the next episode, where we'll finish out the regular season against a very, very good Auburn Tigers team.